The Black Matrix wants you. You are being called to war. Do not take the bait. Hello, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to this channeled energy report. When I last left you, there was so much going on with what was called the Lionsgate portal, and ultimately what we took away from that is that our celestial DNA, our higher dimensional vibrational cords and tethers were being activated, and we were coming online to these brand new light bodies, and that brought with it a lot of strange kind of side effects. People were experiencing exhaustion and headache and dizziness and tears in the matrix and skylines, and new and different abilities and gifts were coming online. Our entire template was expanding, and the way that then filtered in through the physical body, depending on what your dominant resonant frequency is, was either extreme or mild, depending on where you were in your blueprint, and how much activation you received with these with this portal energy. We were receiving this helping hand from Sirius, and now that these energies are starting to wane on an individual and galactic level, we're still here in the northern hemisphere getting this big boost. I'm filming this on the 21st of August 2021. We have this full moon coming in tomorrow night, and then we really have the peak of these Sirius energies in the northern hemisphere happening really through the 23rd of August. So everything is culminating in this full moon, this full moon energy, the 22nd and 23rd, with this Sirius celestial helping hand at the same time. And of course, this is no coincidence at all. Last night I was outside. It was quite late, and was looking at the moon, and came back and channeled this drawing about the moon and about its role in what we're experiencing right now. And afterwards I went up to bed, as it was quite a bit past when I normally am trying to go to bed at night. And I was lying there getting ready to do my meditation, and they asked me to go, my team in spirit asked me to go back outside, and I'm glad I did, because what is playing for you right now, what you're seeing on video, was my view of this full moon energy. And some of you will probably dismiss these images. To me, they were actually, quite astounding, because I could actually visually see, I captured on the camera what I am seeing in regards to my vision lately with what looks, we had talked about with this equinox energy, like these waves of energy where you could actually see them. And right now you're viewing, you can see this ray, and it's pointing right to Sirius. And if you see that right there at the top of the screen, and that is essentially what we are experiencing with this full moon energy. Sirius, this higher consciousness of our galactic blueprint, is funneling down these very high frequency energies, and as the moon becomes full, as it becomes very close to the earth, and it really climaxes in this intense frequency that we know is rooted in the past, it's rooted in the automaton, it's rooted in our programmed living and our lower vibrational cords and tethers. We also know that it's quite often manipulated. And as it is amping up, it is being neutralized and it is being turned up a notch from this helping hand from Sirius. And Sirius is also peaking at this point in time, and you can actually see if you're looking at this video, the energy that is emanating off the moon. You can see the tethering, and you can see the way that the energy fields are affecting our physical reality. And it was just really cool for me as someone that's, channeling this information, that's mission driven by this information, that's constantly seeing these things in vision, to be able to now see this in 4D reality so clearly was just really kind of like epic. And again, you can see right now on the video where this ray is pointed at Sirius and they are exchanging information. What's actually happening in real time here is that Sirius is flooding the moon with these higher vibrational energies in order to neutralize what would be known as the lack matrix. And that's really kind of the crux of what the message I'm putting out today is. And I'm going to give you an overlay here of a few bits of information kind of interwoven in between so that we can get a clearer picture of what's been going on in the world. Because as you know, extreme weather events have been amping up. The chaos in the collective narrative has been amping up. There is so much bubbling to the surface, and it's really become very raucous. It's like I said before, whatever is happening on the lowest end, the densest end of the spectrum, is also happening on the highest end of the spectrum. We just aren't hearing about that in the narrative, because that's not the narrative of the story that the lower density energies want you to hear right now. They want you corded into the lack matrix. They want you gearing up for war. The divine masculine energy, especially if you're divine masculine dominant, is really seeing a reactivation of a war template. And they are pulling out all the stops to try to reactivate this template of war, of competition, of lack inside of us, inside of the divine masculine energy, as a last-ditch effort to cord you back into doubt, fear, anger, fear of the future. It's really these dystopian, divergent timelines that we see bubbling to the surface right now. And if you didn't know any better, you would think that that was the reality that we were living in. Now, obviously, if you go outside your door, you understand this is not the reality that we are living in. If you look around you and the interactions you're having with others, this is not the reality that we're living in. Now, this may be the reality you're experiencing if you still have, ties and cords and tethers into the lower vibrational aspects of the moon, which, is also known as the lack matrix. If you're dabbling in pendulum energy, social media energy, depending on where your dominant resonant frequency is residing, and what space you're holding when you dabble in these platforms, which are pendulums and are being controlled by a certain narrative right now, that obviously can be tailored to specifically what you would like to see, who you would like to interact with. And, so I know that some of you are doing that. Other people are able to stay in neutrality and take in, all the different narratives. But you need to be pretty firmly rooted in a fifth dimensional consciousness and in order to achieve that. And if you're not, you're probably doing yourself a disservice by dabbling in these pendulums and coming away from it feeling doubt, feeling anger, feeling frustration, just overall, worrying about a future that does not yet exist, or maybe it's even the present moment. But overall, if you are exchanging energy here with me, you're doing the work, you understand that, we are constantly working to transmute these lower vibrational cords and tethers to stay in the now, to, transmute and alchemize ourselves from the automaton energy and to be the observer, and as many times a day as we need to, when we find ourselves stepping out of the now, is to ask ourselves, am I awake, and where is the love? Where is the love? And if I can't find the love, how do I become it? And this is really the work that's being asked of us with this flooding of Sirius energy, with this full moon energy. It is actually in the chaos and in the triggers that are, it's really our opportunity to step back, observe, and cut the cord with the lack matrix. So some of you that have not been following me, if you're new to this channel, welcome. Love having the new subscribers and strengthening the resonance. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that, because I'm a human and I love the feedback, and I am mission driven, and anything we can do to strengthen this channel and that you could do, I would absolutely appreciate. But if you haven't been following this and you're wondering, what am I talking about with the tethering and cords and tethers, then I'm going to give a brief synopsis and actually kind of some new information that I've been channeling in. So you can see pictured here is the very first image that I channeled from the Terra group. The Terra group is a fifth dimensional social memory complex of humans on planet Earth. So they are the new Earth, and they are holding the grid at a fifth dimensional consciousness and aiding and assisting us and pulling us upward in vibration and frequency. So when I began channeling this information, the main crux of what I was given is that we are energy. We are made up of energy that correlates to our chakra systems, and that all is swirling around us in a toroidal field patterning, which is then a microcosm of the macrocosm. So we have a magnetic field that looks identical for the Earth and for all the planetary bodies, and we are corded into all of those. Those cords and tethers all operate on a bandwidth of frequency from lowest density to highest density. And that the work that we are doing here on planet Earth is transmuting lower vibrational cords and tethers as we move up the vibrational scale into higher vibrating frequencies. And the information that was given to me by them is that the moon held the grid to our past, okay? The moon held the grid to our past, and that would be the collective past. That would be our individual past, and then our in this lifetime, and then all of the lifetimes that we have played out. And that anytime we were thinking about the past, we were in the past, we were ruminating about the past, that we were really in a programmed, subconscious, below consciousness way of creating reality, which all comes from the 0 point, and it all comes through the heart. And so the opportunities that we have in following these moon cycles, astrologically speaking, is that we can tell based on the sign that the moon is in and where it's moving in the heavens, what energies are stepping forward from the various different planets, from the logos, from aspects or personality aspects of the sun in the great tapestry. We can have this insight and know which cords and tethers are being illuminated and what we can let go of, okay? And how we can cord into higher vibrating cords and tethers until ultimately, whether it happens in this lifetime or the next, or is that we would no longer need to be corded in to the past. We would be in the now. And that is really the work that we're doing. And why it's important to have at least a general understanding of how things are operating in the universe, because the universe is inside of you. It's everything that's happening out there is happening inside, and it all works together in this grand symphony. So you can see here that in this initial image, I am showing you that we are corded into the past. Anytime we step into the past, we are being, in essence, controlled by the moon's energy. And what aspects of that energy we are being controlled by has to do with our frequency, with our dominant resonant frequency, okay? So that was the first understanding that came out of tethering. Now, since that initial channeling, obviously that was more than a year ago, I have been receiving much more information and new abilities, and I have been in a process of trying to integrate everything that I'm an experiential channel, and I am not driven by content creation. I'm driven by spirit and what my team in spirit asks me to put out, and I am not going to put out information until I've experienced it for myself and I've fully integrated in it. A lot of these concepts are, have to do with quantum physics and the way that that operates, and I have absolutely no background in quantum physics, so I'm trying to assimilate a lot of information and come to an understanding. And in this last video on Sirius, I unveiled kind of this tethering 2.0, and I want to do a separate video on that and on the loom, which is what you're seeing here. But this, I'm focusing on the moon. So as you can see in this updated, you see the moon. It is the shadow. It is the past. It is our programmed way of living. But what you also see that wasn't covered in the first tethering information was more than the 7 chakras. So now you see that this pillar of light actually resembles DNA. It is our 12-strand DNA. It is not DNA as we've been taught that it is. It's not this matter driven. It is a energy driven DNA. and it is the activation of our light bodies. We are more than just our physical bodies, and so much of science has only ever been devoted to just the physical aspect. So our DNA stretches all the way to the divine gateway and beyond. And we have a chakra system that's tied into the galactic center, the universal center, and the soul level, and it all kind of culminates in this thing called the loom. And so when I'm talking about Sirius pouring down these energies, you can see from a top-down view that that is entering our energetic field. It is being funneled up through the Earth star, in through all of our chakra systems, and then it's also being funneled down, and it's creating this egg, this cosmic egg, this womb of life. Okay. And so that is what's happening with Sirius and the moon. So we have these celestial energies that are pouring down on through our bodies, but it's also pouring down onto the moon right now. And during a full moon, that is when it's at its full. It's a climax. And so this climax of chaos and doubt and fear and anger and competition and this energy of the bully and this archetypal energy, as that is amping up, so is the energy from Sirius, which is like the higher self of the logos. These fixed stars, from what I'm understanding from my team, and like I said, these all deserve their own videos, but they are like the higher selves, the higher self version of the sun, which is our main logos and our future energy. But the sun is our future energy, the highest part of our conscious mind. Okay. And so you all know from your own reality template and your own reality creation is that you have the highest aspects of you in this physical body. That would be the sun's energy. But then you have your higher self, and you can tap into your higher self. And that's what these fixed stars are. That's what this Sirius energy is. And that's what's being flooded down onto the moon right now as we speak, as it is at its most powerful. So Sirius is saying, you're at your most powerful, you're at your deepest, darkest shadow self. I'm going to flood onto you my most powerful of the light self, of the light body self. And that is, as we know, going to then move it into a 0 point energy. It's going to neutralize. So it's all very exciting. I know it might not feel like that as we're living it, but if we can stay in neutrality, and we can, this is why I do these videos, so that you understand all is well. It really is, even if in these moments it feels like it is just these divergent timelines, and that's all you're hearing about. So now that we know all of this, okay, if I take this image and I screenshot it over top of this next image that's coming up, then we are going to focus in, we are going to zoom in on the Earth, on the human, the Earth's grid, the moon, and Saturn, and how together the moon and Saturn create this lack matrix, how it is altering the frequencies of the planet. We know that planet Earth is a 5th dimensional planet, but that the consciousness has just opened up into a flux of the 3rd to the 4th density. Okay, so that's just our perception of reality. A density is just the dimension. I'm sorry, our dimension is just a perception of reality, and we moved through that spectrum of light, that bandwidth opened up into a 4th dimensional template on the 12/21 of 2020. And since then, we have been bringing in this new fourth dimensional template, also known as the abundance matrix. But we are still under the influence, or there is still a lack matrix that is present. So there are going to be very different realities happening simultaneously, dependent upon where you're corded into. Are you corded into the lack matrix, or are you corded in to the abundance matrix? The lack matrix is predicated on the past. It is a programmed way of being. It is third dimensional, dualistic in nature. It is right, wrong, good, bad. It is there is not enough. I am not enough. We have to scratch and claw and compete for goods, for everything, because there is only one winner and there is only one loser. And if I want to win at the game of life, then I have to abide by the rules of the lack matrix. And the abundance matrix, again, is what many of us have been experiencing, which is why everything feels so disjointed from what we're experiencing. But between that and the narrative is, there is enough. Our world is taking care of us. There's enough to go around. There is no competition. We can have our heart's desires. There still is duality. There still is duality, but it's mostly predicated on spirituality. And, if you're awake or they're not awake, it's more of a nuanced way of living. And we are just in the infancy of this. Okay. So it's not this magical thing overnight that's just going to boom, happen, and quantum jump into the new reality and everything else is go. No, this is a weaving. My team calls it the weaving, where we are cutting away from the lack matrix and we are cording in to the abundance matrix. And so in discussing the moon, okay, because I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but in discussing the moon, this is the new information in which I have channeled in. And this is not new information from what I've come to learn. It was new to me, but I am now understanding that in the past, Steiner, AP Sinnott, Madame Blavatsky have all discussed what is called the eighth sphere, okay? The eighth sphere. And that is this kind of like suctioning vacuum of lower density energy that is the, very like divergent timelines, divergent, demonic, satanic, it is purgatory. It was known as like the planet of the moon was known as the planet of death. Okay. And I have very, very lightly scratched the surface of all of that, simply because as a channel, I know that I am at times saying things that other people may have said or may correlate to other works. But it's important that I keep my channel clear and that whatever information I get is new to me. Okay. So from what I understand about this eighth sphere, about this moon and the controlling factors of the moon is that Saturn is indeed projecting a frequency on to the moon, which is keeping the lack matrix. Now, I'm not saying us, okay? I'm saying it has been keeping the lack matrix in a time loop, okay? And that initially, okay, there's a lot of theories. Is a hologram, that the moon is hollow, that the moon is, completely inorganic. And I am not dismissing any of these theories. Again, you have to understand we are multidimensional. We are on many different timelines. I'm sure every theory out there is a true theory and on a timeline. But from what I understand in looking at this picture, is that as the moon was essentially an organic being, an organic logos. And the way they've described it to me is that it was supposed to be the storehouse, okay? They likened it to the lymphatic system of the body. The moon was initially created to be the lymphatic system of our energetic body. So if you had a divergent thought, if you had a divergent emotion, if you were experiencing lower density fractal aspects of your light body, of your emotional body, of your total self, that this would funnel through the moon, and then it would reintegrate into you and back up into the light, okay? And it was, they called it the Great Storehouse. That is what it was intended to do. That it was a filtration system, the same way the lymphatic system filtrates our blood and all of the garbage in our blood, and then cleans that and brings it back up into the heart. That is what it was doing for us on an energetic level. It was filtering out all of the debris and then bringing back clean energy back up through the Earth star into the heart. And that was what it was designed to do. But when these lower vibrational service to self, my team calls it the persuasion of percussion, however you want to look at it, in the dualistic reality that we were in, this quarantined reality, this service to self, got a hold of the moon, essentially. And you can see in this picture, and they showed it to me like a giant flashlight, basically, that it's projected over top of the organic moon from frequencies from Saturn, and they are poured down on a spectrum with the intention of being a holding pattern. So now, instead of it just organically filtering out, coming back up through the Earth star and up through the heart and back to the light, now you're in a holding frequency of a shadow side, of a shadow element that is stuck in the subconscious mind. It's stuck in the subconscious programming, which is why it is so hard to reprogram the subconscious mind, because the frequency of it is not doing what it was intended to do, which was automatically filter out. We were not intended to be living in the past. We were not intended to be programmed in the way that we were. But that's what's been going on. That's what's been happening. And so what's happened with what Blavatsky, Steiner, A.P. Sinnett knew as the eighth sphere, which was, this planet of death, the moon is this planet of death, was that it was all of the fractal aspects of you. They got stuck there. If they get stuck there and you never integrate these lower vibrational aspects of the moon, that when it became time for you to leave, and we are actually, what I'm learning is we're actually stargates, okay? And our energies make this Merkaba, which I talked about in the first tethering. And when we leave and we transition, we wink out. We have this velocity based on these toroidal fields, which you can see here, to skyrocket out of here. But if lower density aspects of ourselves are trapped in this eternal darkness, in this storehouse, and they aren't integrated back, that would then keep you karmically entangled, quantumly entangled on the earth plane until you can figure it out. And so that is what has been going on for the, entire third density. Now that we've moved into the fourth dimension and we're starting to have an awareness, we're waking up, the collective is waking up, we can choose to reintegrate these fractal aspects of ourselves across all time and space, across all timelines, and we can choose what frequency of the moon we would like to be corded into. Is it the inorganic frequencies of the moon? Is it the holding pattern frequencies of the moon? Is it the 8 sphere frequencies of the moon? Or is it the organic moon, the great storehouse, the lymphatic system of the galactic, energy template? And as we wake up to this, as we begin working with these lower density cords and tethers and calling back these fractal aspects of ourselves, it will be easier and easier to tap in to the abundance matrix. You can see from this image here that I channeled that what is coming out of the moon's mouth is a frequency on a bandwidth, and you can see that it is touching different parts of the grid of the earth and then going all the way into the grid of the human. And we get to choose. We are sovereign. We have free will. We can choose where we want to cord into the moon's tethers. Do we want to cord into the lack matrix, or do we want to cord into the abundance matrix? And this is the work that we're doing right now. The lack matrix is influencing the divine masculine aspects through these reoccurrent time-looped templates of war and trying to push us into a corner and make us feel we are subjugated, we must conform, we must do things in this way. Obviously, we understand we are co-creating this collective consciousness, that this is this mass hallucination, and we get to contribute our individual blueprint to it. So fighting against this lack matrix is not going to be the way out. The way out is to cord and tether into the abundance matrix. It's to focus on creating a new template altogether. And that's why I've titled this Not to Fall for the Bait, because everything inside of us, if this would have been 6 years ago, I would have been right out there, probably protesting and, making signs and shouting from the rooftops. But I would have just been falling into the hands of what the template is designed to do, which is to keep you distracted, keep you corded into the past, keeping you feeling disempowered, making you believe there is only two choices, one choice, and that you must conform, when in reality, we are sovereign beings and we are creating the abundance matrix now. We are its architects. We are its playwrights. We are the trendsetters. And that, my friends, is what this full moon energy in Aquarius moving into Pisces is giving us. We've got the mental energy from this Aquarian, the new original thought coming in correlation with Pisces, which is dreamy and feely and otherworldly and known to be psychic in nature, culminated with Sirius neutralizing these lower vibrational density lack matrix cords and tethers of the moon. And what you have is this awesome opportunity to begin to take action on something new, take action on something that feels good. If you are being triggered, if it is coming up for you, good, because that is your sign that you're still corded into the lack matrix and you need to cut ties. So I know this was a ton of information. I cannot wait to talk to you more about the moon and the 8th sphere and Saturn and time loops and fractal aspects and how do we do all that, and also about the loom and these amazing experiences I had with these brief glimpses of the total body, the I am presence, this probably 10 seconds of enlightenment that I felt. So all of this will be soon to come. I am not going to fib to you guys. I've got a lot going on in my personal life trying to create my own abundance matrix, and hopefully have some new information coming to you soon on a website and my book. And a blog funneled through that. So a lot's going on that side of things. And as much as I am just super jazzed to do these videos, it seems to be very hard to squeeze in time right now. I know that's going to all sort itself out. I'm not worried about it, but it just means that you guys might have to wait a little bit longer. So if you want to help me strengthen this resonance, if you want to help me have more time devoted to this work, you can comment, you can share, you can like, and help me, bolster this into something I can do more than part-time. So love, light, and blessings to all of you. I'm sending you all big, 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 big love. Bye.
Just wanted to say I love you. Really love you.